So this is very exciting. This is the first panel I've created and moderated, and I couldn't be happier. I really want to thank the museum and everybody here today and everybody that's helped make this happen. And, you know, all of the musicians here today, John, I'll play this to you for starters. We haven't heard from you yet. Everybody has to start somewhere. There are stepping stones. And I think if you wanted to comment, we'll start the discussion on kind of what you've seen as far as that goes. And you and Oscar can kind of lead off with that, I think.
As far as, you know, starting up music, you know, that is really the essence of being a musician. That's the essence of being an artist. Is, are you producing, are you writing, are you facilitating music? Without music, where are you? As a musician, if that's what you want your career to become, your songs are your product. And without product, you have no business. And without no business, you have no career. So that's really, I mean, it's such a simplistic, really small piece of the puzzle, but it's surprising how often it's overlooked. I was recently in a conversation with somebody in regards to how often should a musician produce music. I'm going to let Oscar answer that question. How often should a musician be writing songs and making music?
Is this thing working?
Yeah.
Kind of?
Just yell.
Okay. So the answer to how often should a musician be producing music is constantly, right? For me, I think practice is probably the most important thing, especially when we're talking about starting out, right? To get yourself in the mentality of a musician, to start thinking about your life as such, you have to be constantly practicing it. It will become a way of life. I mean, that's where it starts.
Does a day go by where you don't make music in any format?
Not in a very long time.
Yeah, that's how it starts.
I'm going to pass this over to John B. and tell us about your path. And you know, I think it's inherent that people that want to really get into the music field are going to be so absorbed with loving music that is just a reflection of who they are. And I think the panel here is a really, really good representation of that. I can't see any of the panelists here, except of course John and myself, not being musicians. It seems so inherent in that.
So I actually started off a lot differently than most of the ramp artists did. My mom actually put me in classical piano when I was maybe 3 or 4, and I started training, and it was just training. It was strenuous, and when you train so hard with a really, really strict teacher who still believes in corporal punishment, may I add, like by the time these kids are 7 or 8, they know that they want to be a concert pianist, and they're already auditioning for master classes in Juilliard and NYU, and it's a crazy process. And that was what I did for the first 4, 5 so years of my music career. And then I saw someone on YouTube playing and singing, and I thought, hey, I play the piano, I can do that. And then it just, in that moment, I remember so clearly, it just kind of just clicks, if it makes sense. And just, I think the hardest switch for me was just having to be so like disciplined and like it's like this. You're playing like a 7-page Mozart sonata to going to like these, I don't know, like city downtown bars and playing, you know, these really laid back gigs. And then I noticed that there weren't a lot of like Southeast Asian females that were in the scene. I was like, I want to change that. Because I feel like that's so important, is being diverse as a person and just being diverse as a community, and especially in music, because there's so many people that can bring so many things to the table, but their talent and the way they view things in their artistry is overlooked because of the way they look or where they come from. And I think that's honestly very, very sad, and that's something I think that's become my main goal. And it was never about becoming like big or doing that, as my mom was always very like persistent on that. She's like, it doesn't matter if you become big or not, it just matters if one performance can change the view of another for the better.
Yeah, that's extremely well put. And I think that all the panelists here share that as well, where they're really wanting to affect other people in a positive way with their music. Emma?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely what I want to do. I mean, I try to make all my music encouraging, but you know, when I was 9, I came home from my first guitar lesson, and I played my first 4 chords for her, and it just was kind of a thing where she was just like, wow, I think you might have a talent for songwriting, as I started humming a melody to it. And so that's basically what kickstarted my career, is basically just playing a song for her and writing my first song. And so I think if she hadn't realized that, then I don't know where I would be now. I don't even know if I would be doing music. And my goal is just to inspire people, and I feel like I've definitely inspired some people to write some music.
Really nice, Maya.
So the question was, can you...
Well, talk about, now for you, it's very interesting because you were going to Bill Reed Middle School, wonderful school here in town, part of the LISA program. Yeah, and that's just incredible. And that, as you put it, changed your life.
Yeah, they have like an annual talent show, like Bill Reed presents at the Rialto Theater, which is pretty cool. And I saw that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds fun. And I was so when I was in 7th grade, and I didn't talk to anyone. I had one friend that whole year, and I'm surprised that I got the courage to do that. So I learned 3 chords to a Monsters of Men song, and I played it. And I think really what got me into it is performing, the performing aspect of playing music. And then after that, I just dropped the guitar for probably 9 months because I am very lazy as a human being. But then I picked it back up. I was actually watching a Lumineers concert on TV. It was live at Red Rocks because the tickets sold out before we could go, and they were my favorite band. And I remember watching it and being I started crying because I'm oh my god, this is what I want to do, because they looked so happy when they were up there playing, and I was so that's kind of what got me into it again, just being able to play and just provide those, hopefully, connections and be able to know people through this, because this is, when you play music, I feel it's the most intimate the most intimate and honest version you'll ever be of yourself. So I think that's a cool way to connect to people, I guess.
I want to do over.
Say it.
Yeah, I want to do over. I just realized that we're speaking to mostly parents rather than children, and it makes me think that when I think of the most important things for starting off, it is mentorship and support. And you mentioned you're going to songwriting sessions, circles in Boulder and stuff like that. It's really getting out and seeing other people to really reflect yourself back so that you can understand what's going on.